Parasomnias are sleep abnormalities that occur when someone is slightly awake during transitions from sleep to wakefulness or wakefulness to sleep, and sometimes just during sleep. Parasomnias include sleep paralysis, night terrors, nightmares, confusional arousal, alien abduction, sleepwalking and sleep-talking, nocturnal epilepsy, hypnic jerk, and exploding head syndrome, which is hearing and seeing loud bolts or bangs in the head. Parasomnias cover all kinds of visual and auditory hallucinations and a wide variety of muddled body sensations. Parasomnias include many different odd behaviors or events at night, from serious medical issues to simply accidental awakenings during transition periods. They are, in effect, glitches in the brain during, before, or after falling asleep, either through injury, illness, training, or overusing psychedelics. The shamans, priests, witches, mystics, and prophets of the world glitch out their brains to remain in parasomnias throughout the day-to-day wakefulness. With technology, there is a term called jailbreaking, where exploits are used to remove manufacturer restrictions, allowing one to run their device in an administrator mode. Of course, there can be consequences to this, but this jailbreaking or glitching of the brain allows someone to be in the unconscious, spirit, dream realm and normal waking reality at the same time. They exist between worlds. They have entered into the Twilight zone state. This gives you extrasensory perceptions, or a sort of meta-awareness. It allows for new connections and creative and imaginative thinking, as distortions of everyday phenomena create for surreal, abstract, and harrowing experiences. The average person has probably felt glimpses of this state from pulling an all-nighter, for example, where there is a sluggish trippiness and a reduced experience of sensory boundaries that our brains normally keep divided. The Twilight Zone state is a synesthesia of the brain's perceptions of reality and connection routes. Another example is Da Vinci, who sustained this Twilight Zone state through an intense schedule of sleeping 20 minutes out of every 4 hours, all day and night, for a total of about 2 hours of sleep per day. His mastery of art and science was far ahead of his time. The Twilight Zone state is perhaps best described as microgian, or long shadow, encountering the shadowy sides of nature in a direct and heightened form, enough to give them shape and personality. Where things get interesting is the possibility that the shades and penumbral images seen in the Twilight Zone are archetypal interpretations of mundane phenomena. Consider the parasomnia alien abduction experience. Suppose it is an unconscious projection of some kind of enteric infection, the knowledge or warning of which is seen entoptically during sleep, or maybe a sleep paralysis demon being some kind of expression or interpretation of a mycotoxin. Urban legends and folk creatures are mainly only ever reported at night. Parasomnias can naturally happen to anyone, so it is a common experience of a strange anomaly that becomes psychosocially embedded and shared by a culture. Therefore, the shaman or mystic or witch in the Twilight Zone state may identify spirits, deities, or other paranormal entities that are interpreted by the brain through archetypal caricatures. In other words, that synesthesia of brain pathways helps to identify a hidden world that is naturally sensed and encountered, that hidden world being the microscopic. There are scents, pheromones, and all kinds of other signatures of microbial activity that pass the conscious mind unnoticed, imbuing subtle influences or communication at times. This glitching or jailbreaking of the brain may unlock interpretations of microbial activity from one sense, such as smell, into an auditory or visual experience. Again, the archetypal image providing hints as to the identity of that encounter. It's why those people become healers, spiritual guides, visionary thinkers, mediums, and diviners. Sensing and communing with the masters of game on administrator mode gives them the power to direct, to control, or to banish the microbes in a person or environment. To an unprepared initiate, or unknowingly entering into the Twilight Zone, it can become full of stalking dangers and paranoid shadows. The line between shaman and madman in this meta-awareness of the microscopic of the Twilight Zone state is not a distinct one. Caution is advised, as the Twilight Zone has no guarantees. Leaving it may not always be possible, and this does little justice in describing the true, bizarre unreality, the synchronicity ghosts, and the glitched-out filters our body so carefully designed as protection from the realities of the dreaming. Knowledge and power may lurk in the Twilight Zone, but you never tread there alone, as too, lurking, are the fractal beings of the microscopic.